Spirit Ridge Vineyard Resort and Spa is an award-winning destination that is known for its commitment to environmental sustainability. On his tour of the resort, Art discovers that every department, from the kitchen to housekeeping to maintenance, has a green energy plan.
As you've come into the reserve, you've noticed that all of our resort is on the outside of the reserve. It's on the boundary of the reserve. And the reason we do that is we're trying not to encroach into our territory, because our people still like to walk the lands and they still like to teach our children about the animals, and they want to enjoy that. But they do have trust in us as, counselors, and as the Chief Clarence Louie, he has his thoughts about economic development, but he also has his thoughts about preservation of the land.
What makes these rooms so environmentally friendly and low impact and all?
For instance, in the winter time when we are a little slower and not so busy, we shut the appliances down for the winter time, such as the fridges, which is a very high consumer of energy as when it's empty. We will leave it off for approximately a month, and then we will rotate this to a different room. I call it rolling appliance blackouts. So we do the same with the stove as well. The digital clock is off.
So all the phantom power sources
are off. It doesn't seem like a lot in one room, but when you multiply it by many rooms, it adds up to something.
How much are you able to conserve electricity?
Well, last year we won an award from Fortis. We saved 100,000 kilowatt hours of power. And we turned the thermostat down to 65 in these rooms.
Yeah.
In phase 2, we have energy eyes now. So the room actually stays at 58 degrees until you come into the room. Then the furnace will start to work, and
so
the room will warm up.
it's picked up by a sensor or something?
That's right. There's a sensor by the door that lets it know that there's somebody in the room. And when you leave, it turns itself back off again.
So what about water use?
Cutting back on, we have low flow shower heads, for instance, 3.5 liters per minute. We've lowered the level in the tanks as well, down 1/3 from what it normally is.
So anybody can do that at home, I guess. Just lower the level.
Lower the level, or even if you put a brick in it, for instance. Right. Some people recommend a fire brick, and you put it in there and it takes up that space, and it's that much less water.
And what about some of you're using some recycled?
Oh yeah, all our products are, like I say, as much as we can, we're phosphate-free and recycled paper to strive to remain green as much as we possibly can.
What are some of the environmental initiatives?
Well, I think at the forefront of it is taking a very large stand in making sure that we're using as much local produce, organic when possible, but allowing my side of the industry to help the local producers grow and flourish as well, so that their availability increases, and also, a statement as to why our cuisine is different than everybody else's. The fact that we can get our produce from our back doors, beauty of having it being packaged in reusable plastic totes, which gets shipped back to them after we're done using the produce, so that can be sent out again, reducing our imprint a little bit on the environment as well. And then obviously composting is a very huge deal for us as well. The biggest issue again is trucking, but for us we try and pair as many producers from that area on one truck so that it's only one shipment per week and lessens that impact.
So using local and organic preserved products, and right down to the fair trade organic coffee, it must have an appeal to the customers too.
And I think that with the influx of interest with the Food Network and people really stressing the importance of what the impact of us not supporting local farmers means, it's our duty as chefs to make sure we can support that.
What makes it green and unique is that we work together as an association. So we have the Cultural Center, who works on teaching about the lands, legends, and the people. We have Spirit Ridge, who is working on various initiatives. They have garbage initiatives. We separate our garbage out. We have the garbage come and pick up garbage in a certain way. Incomeep Cellars here works on trying to teach about our culture too and about the importance we have of the area. We have the golf course, which even in their vehicles and stuff, we're trying to get vehicles that don't have the gas emission. And the RV park, you know, it's just all about going around and making sure that the public, we serve the public, but that everybody's aware that we keep the environment green and healthy.
Incomeep Cellars was the first Aboriginal-owned wineries in North America. From growing grapes to packaging the bottles of wine for customers, protecting the environment is always a top priority for the winery.
So I'm pouring some 2007 Quemquemt Merlot. This Merlot is from our reserve here. Quemquemt in Okanagan loosely translates to achieving excellence. And one of the things that we do with this tier of wine is $1 from every bottle that's sold goes to the Incomeep Desert Center for their endowment fund. And what we've actually done as a band is we've protected the tract of land beside Osoyoos Lake. That land has 23 species of plants and animals that are protected and endangered. Our Desert Center's job now is to rehabilitate that land and keep it in its natural state and to educate people about it. And the money that we're donating to them helps in those efforts.
What are the other ecological, environmental aspects of your operation?
It basically starts in the vineyard. We really try to limit the wastewater. We use drip irrigation so that it directs the water specifically to where it's needed, so we don't lose as much to evaporation because it does get very hot here. We also limit the use of pesticides and chemicals. We're also trying to get away from using so much plastic even for our bags. When we're selling things to customers, we've switched over to cloth.
And the grapes?
All of them are grown on our reserve. We have 21 acres that surrounds Incomeep Cellars here in Osoyoos, and then we have 340 acres on the north side of Oliver, and that's managed by Sam Baptiste, who is a member of our band.
Do you think it's an important thing to move toward sustainable, low-footprint initiatives?
Yes, I definitely think it's important. It's all about sustainability and having something left for future generations. So it's become increasingly important for our band and our reserve. It's definitely the way of the future. If we want this land to remain as it is, we need to take care of it.